The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. Jesus took with him Peter and James and John and led them up a high mountain where they could be alone by themselves. There in their presence he was transfigured. His clothes became dazzlingly white, whiter than any earthly bleacher could make them. Elijah appeared with Moses, and they were talking with Jesus. Then Peter spoke to Jesus. "Rabbi," he said, "it is wonderful for us to be here. So let us make 3 tents, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." He did not know what to say. They were so frightened. And a cloud came, covering them in shadow. And there came a voice from the cloud, "This is my Son, the Beloved, listen to him." Then suddenly, when they looked round, they saw no one with them anymore, but only Jesus. And they came down the mountain. He warned them to tell no one what they had seen until the Son of Man had risen from the dead. They observed the warning faithfully, though among themselves they discussed what rising from the dead could mean. The Gospel of the Lord. Six days prior to the Transfiguration, Jesus is with his disciples in Caesarea Philippi. And he makes his first passion prediction. So for a whole week, the disciples are discussing among themselves the implications of what this could mean. Jesus, the Messiah, is going to suffer, to be rejected. They had seen many crucifixions themselves. The crucifixion wasn't part of their understanding of who Jesus was, because for them the crucifixion was the ultimate sign of rejection, abandonment. The crucifixion was for ardent criminals. And yet the one that they follow, the one that they call Lord, has turned their lives upside down. Now, to balance this, Jesus in the Transfiguration manifests himself as the Son of God. Just as God the Father had manifested himself on a mountain to Moses, Jesus on a different mountain now manifests himself as a divine Son of God. And the reason he does this is to encourage his disciples, to remind them that the cross leads to the resurrection. The cross will lead to his glorification. The cross is not an end in itself. It's also a reminder to them that as followers of Christ, they too have been invited to take up their cross daily and follow him, that they too, sometime in the future, will be glorified in their own personal resurrection. But Peter wants to capture the moment. He wants to stay a little longer and bask in God's glory. And that is humanly natural. So all of us, when we are enjoying something, we want the moment not to cease. It's part of our human nature. But we can't always be in a high as Christians. We're not always going to be in a high as Christians. Yes, there's going to be moments when God will give us a little taste of honey, when we'll go through those feelings of awe and praise and ecstasy. But for many of our days, it's just a simple, mundane and ordinary day. That Christ will meet us just in the ordinary events of each day. That we can't always stay up on that mountain. There's work to be done that Christ continues to work in and through us as church, in and through us, this parish, in and through our family situations. And at the end of the passage, they are asked by Jesus at this moment in time not to discuss what they have seen publicly, although they discuss among themselves what rising from the dead could mean. And again, this shows us the humanness of the apostles, and it shows us also the humanness of our journey with the Lord, that we don't always have the complete understanding of what is happening in our lives. We don't always understand things that happen to us. But God and Jesus want to reassure us that in our journey, wherever we are in that journey, whatever is happening to us at this present moment in our lives, He assures us that we are not walking that journey alone, that we have the support of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. We also have the support of the saints and prophets, and those who already in our families have reached that final destination, that they continue to encourage us in our journey, that they continue to intercede for us, and more so when we come to Holy Mass, that they are with us and visible round this altar this evening, praising God as we do, but also interceding before the face of the Father for each and every one of us. It reminds us that we are a community. We're not walking on our own, and we don't have to walk on our own. We don't have to shoulder our burdens on our own, that we have the aid and the assistance and the consolation and solace of our God and the communion of saints. Today's gospel passage reminds us that we are all on that same journey as Peter, James, and John took with Jesus, that we also encounter that same Lord that they met, that they saw. That same manifestation takes place this evening upon that altar when we encounter the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus, everything that we need for our journey. We have it now. It is ours to accompany us to reach that final destination where we too will share in the beatific vision of God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit.